Okay, let's try this again. I had a whole script. I'm not gonna look at it because every time I do, I sound robotic and it doesn't sound natural, and we're just gonna go for it. I'm gonna look at pointers instead. Yeah. This character, Ryker Dale, he is based off of my dog. He is called Biscuit, and he is an English Cocker Spaniel. Before we start in, I'm just gonna get over and done with. The name Ryker came from me being a child and being like, oh, what name means biscuit? And Ryker was the first one that came up. It doesn't mean biscuit. Side note, it really doesn't at all. I don't know why it came up. And then the last name, Dale, that is from, it's an English-derived name. Biscuit's an English Cocker Spaniel. Well, wow, bizinga. So incredible, so hard to do. Anyway, with that being said, why was he made? Well, I was on a walk with friends with my dog, and one of them was like, "Oh, your dog is rolling in weeds. He likes to roll in weeds a lot. You know, he'd be a drug dealer if he were human." And I went with that idea. I was like, "Oh yes, that is a splendid idea. That sounds amazing." And therefore, we talked about it. We talked about our other pets and how they would be humans and what jobs they would have. And we then just left it that summer. That was it. That's where it was left. Until I came back to it in November 2018, where I was on my lunch break and I doodled Ryker Dale. Didn't have the name at the time, but I'm just going to be referring to him as that. And yeah, this is it. He was weird, I guess. It's a very odd first design because considering I had, 30 minutes, and I didn't draw for a whole 30 minutes just for this. And he had side tassels because they were based off of my dog's floppy ears. Or side tassels, side bangs, whatever. He also had wide eyes because I thought wide puppy eyes would be cute and, it would make sense. My dog's quite impulsive, quite energetic, quite insane, if I really have to be honest. He seems to always have the zoomies. If you don't know what zoomies are, it's basically when a dog is always like super fast and excited and happy, and they're just running like zoomies. And yeah, that's what I wanted to get. I didn't like the suit, so I drew him in the vest instead, and that was it. That was all he was. For until February 2019, which is where I decided I should try color him digitally. And yeah, that's what I did. I drew him. It's completely different now because, of course, I didn't have a sense of consistency, and I did want to make some changes. Gave him bangs, which were inspired by my dog's bangs. They usually cover his eyes. This one has a little bobbin because it's funny, and that's what also inspired a ponytail for his long hair. He has a red collar, and the bobble thing was red at the same, so I gave him a red shirt, and yeah, that was really it. White skin tone because, well, animals that have dark fur typically have a lighter skin tone, and in Biscuit's case, he had a basically white skin tone with a blue undertone. So that's why it's basically white with a blue shading. So yeah, that was Ryker, and from 2019 onwards to now, I kept drawing him. I had a really consistent streak of drawing him throughout 2019 to 2020. All of that was just drawing him. I drew him in different AUs. AU meaning universe. I drew him Pokemon. So I drew him a made-up gaming universe that I had a fixation on for a while. And I also had a friend who had their own universe who I drew Ryker into because I wanted to. And it just kept going like that. And fortunately, I ended up feeling like, I don't really want to draw him anymore because I had another fixation on a different set of characters in a different universe. So Ryker was just dropped, and I picked up someone else. but I did do one, maybe I did 2 drawings in 2021. One of them was this. It was a painter. I was trying to kind of dip my toes in the water of painterly, but not really, because I got really impatient, and I don't like it. The only thing I like on it was the lollipop. And then the second time was thinking, oh, I should redesign Ryker. It's been a while. I started it, and then never finished it. So yeah. Until we come around to recently, 2022. I decided, yeah, I should draw him. Like, I should actually sit down and draw him properly with a whole character design board and like an actual basis instead of just thinking one design and going with it. So I went to Pinterest, I made a mood board, I looked at all the references that I thought would fit Ryker, and started drawing. So yeah, just before I actually play this, side note, I tried recording. I'm going to be slower than the actual video because in Blender, I tried to slow down the speed draw as much as possible. Unfortunately, it doesn't look good the slower I make it. So this is like the best balance that I could get between it being slow enough to keep up, but fast enough to have it kind of quick. Because if it's too slow, I guarantee it looks absolutely abysmal. That's the disclaimer. I'm sorry I can't keep up with it. I speak fast, but I can't speak that fast. So yeah. I draw on my iPad and my finger is my stylus, and I basically start out with I copy this into four different shirt designs, and I have 3 different hair designs. One of the hair and a bunch of eye designs, the fangs from one previous. I had an earring before on his character, but I decided to get rid of it because I didn't want it anymore. I did weird little sketches and little doodles. Those are the 4 shirt designs, and once I start line arting, that first hair design is literally just like one of the tidier hair designs I used to give him, but I don't like it anymore. I hate it, but I like the side tassels. So then I took those side tassels for the third, made them a bit longer, and then the middle hair design is literally just his old hair, like the very first time I drew it, just a bit more refreshened up. And those are the 4 shirt designs. I wanted to play around with collar shapes, but I went with the original collar shape I gave him because I like it more. I think it's neat. It wasn't bad for its time, and it's still not bad now. I went with the larger eye design, and because I've never given him wide eyes, but he's a dog. What if he had puppy eyes? Wide, large puppy eyes. Anyway, as you can see over on what I'm drawing now, I had previously struggled with that pose multiple times. It's just IBIS Paint doesn't record undo buttons, so it looks like I didn't really struggle that much, but in fact I did. It took me too long, and I had to redraw all the anatomy and everything, and then yeah, I kept struggling with his head, and I was like, fuck, and that's where I decided, oh no, narrow eyes, I want to have wide eyes, because wide eyes are, I don't draw much of wide eyes. Most of my characters have kind of like, not thin, but not exactly as wide as that, and it kind of makes him look insane, which I think is fitting. I gave him a coat, because on the mood board it does have a coat. I was inspired by Cruella de Vil's kind of coat and how dramatic and flare and all of that, and how it can be like that. So it's a fur coat. It's black because he had black fur, and yeah, now it's onto the coloring phase. I do not like coloring. It's my weakest point in my opinion. I really need to work on it. But aside from that, this is about the speed draw. Started kind of detailing the hair, but then I got bored of that and distracted, and then I went back to shading. I don't really like shading either. It's part of coloring. I find it tedious and frankly kind of boring. But aside from that, I started trying to shade fur. Not that I had any experience, and then I realized, fuck, this is too hard. I'm going to just no, this is like a character page. I don't need to have all the detail in the world. So I just stopped and did that. So yeah, I left, and then I started doing the color palette after I did the background, which is a simple doggy paw thing. I didn't use a ruler for any of that. I should have used a ruler, but aside from that, I had this whole thing in a previous design page where I did the text like that, and I liked it a lot, so I took the text and I just shoved in a bunch of my thoughts during it, like when I was drawing it, and yeah, that's how it turned out. Those are the shirts, there's 4 of them. Then those are the eyes, there's another 4 of them, and I chose the wide eyes, kind of, but tweaked the eyelashes. And then those are the 3 hair designs. Don't like the first one, middle one's okay, and the last one is what I mixed with the first one's kind of front bangs. Bangs because dog, and yeah, that's the full body. You can see the fur detailing that I started and stopped immediately. Yeah, pretty basic. I don't know what else to say. It's my dog. It's Ryker Dale. Uh, yeah,